But then at the flip side, we have to remember all the time that we really count for like 49% of the vote.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Artist
That's
is always
right.
51.
artist is always
exactly.
51. The main one that they tell you that if I could tell anyone who is at school for audio to not listen to, it is to not overcompress something. I do not think that is true. I think you should overcompress everything, and you should figure out where it sucks. Like, and then when you think it's good, it probably is.
I think for me, it's just like figure out how to keep having fun doing what you do. You know what I mean? Like it is really easy to convince yourself that you have a job. And whenever that happens, I stop liking it and have to remind myself that it's just having fun with your friends every day and making fun stuff and being okay with failing and doing the wrong thing. Like, it's just have fun.
Welcome to Season 3 of Producer Points. I'm your host, Justin Gamella. Join me as we continue our deep dives and one-on-one conversations with producers, mixers, artists, and songwriters. This season, full episodes are for Producer Pal subscribers. Join the community on Patreon where you'll get more than just those full episodes. All right, let's jump in. This is Producer Points. Today on Producer Points, we're sitting down with a producer-writer duo who've quietly been behind some of the best-sounding indie and alternative records for the past few years. They've worked with artists like boygenius, Ashe, Lucy Dacus, Julien Baker, Suki Waterhouse, and so many more. Every time I hear their work, it just sounds right. There's this rawness and honesty to their records, amazing engineering, incredible playing, great arrangements, just absolutely musical, human-sounding, and they never feel overcooked. Honestly, they've been making some of my favorite sounding records as of late. I'm excited to dig into how they work and how they're making stuff sound this good. Please join me in welcoming Collin Pastore and Jake Finch. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Hello.
man.
You know, we're doing it.
Thanks for
We're
having
doing the
us.
thing.
We're doing the thing.
I know. So this is like a rare like three-fer, you know, like we have, the only other duo we had Captain Cuts on last year.
So
sick.
Yeah, so we don't get too many duos or like usually have more than one person besides the roundtables on the podcast.
Sure.
So these are always really, really fun. Well, you know, we were talking before, but you guys are in Nashville. You just went through this crazy storm
Awesome.
that was there. Jake, you were saying you were out of power for like a week. Colin,
Yep.
you were good. You were living the good life.
We were cruising.
What was it like this week with like sessions? Did everyone just say like fuck it, like we're not
Pretty
doing
much
it?
fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, snow days happen, and what can you do? You know,
Right.
Totally.
Life moves on.
It was the rare week where I was like so bummed to have it canceled.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of a record with a guy named Ryman Wooten, and it's just been going really well, and we've been having so much fun with it. So it was a real shame to have to push the whole thing. But
Yeah, and
is what it is.
where's your guys' studio?
It's in my backyard.
yeah,
It's your so where the studio was had no power.
Yeah.
of course, of
My,
course.
my place, the power spot.
Yeah.
No power.
yeah. We kind of bounce back and forth between Jake's spot and my spot. We're in my mix room right now.
Okay.
But
Sick.
my room is like heavily treated and pretty lifeless. So it's great for making like educated decisions about a mix, and really
Right.
bad for getting anything with like a room around it. So,
Right, of course. That's kind of nice though. You get like
yeah.
both things where it's like, okay, we record at Jake's and we can like kind of make the bigger decisions in Colin's space.
Totally.
That's right. You know, you do big strokes over at my place. You make it all messy and gross, and then you come back over here and get a little surgical.
Totally.
I mean, but that's like, it's so funny because like every single conversation I have with like every producer when, you know, you're either moving into a new place, every single question is like, okay, do I make this more of like a live room or do I make this a mixing room?
Totally.
And it's, and like, I don't think you can really do both. You can kind of maybe do like, give one a more advantageous thing.
Yeah.
I chose to like do it as best I could in my room where it's like, okay, it's, you know, soundproofed in here as best as I can do it in my little, you know, 10 by 17 garage. But I was like, I wanted to like, you know, I record piano in here. I record other things in here. I want that like liveness. Jake, I'm curious at your spot, like, do you have like a lot of things going on, like a lot of soundproofing, or you just kind of keep it pretty open?
The building is cinder block, thank God, you know, but so that keeps out most of the noise. But like, you know, the windows are thin. They're really thin. So like we always joke about, you know, crediting my neighbor Dave on every record because he's always mowing in the background, you know. And, you know, we have windows that can open. So, you know, a lot of times we'll just like get some birds or cicadas on the acoustic guitars because there's no way around it.
And it's nice out, you know.
Yeah, and it's
like,
beautiful. And but you're just trying to capture a moment, and it just so happened to be 85 degrees and beautiful that day. So you're going to hear that,
Yeah. I mean, dude, I have the same problem. Like, you can't see it. I have my window over there, and it's like, it's just a regular window, nothing. And, I chose, like, I like natural light.
Yeah,
and
same.
I was like, I like this, I think it's important when you're writing. And yes, sometimes, like yesterday I was picking up like a woodpecker really going like, making the sounds. It makes like, all right,
Like,
I guess we'll just work around that.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's
like,
the beat.
Go out there. Yeah. And that's what, then we'll figure it out. Okay. So before we talk too much about your studio, we always start the podcast off talking about your guys' story. So I'm going to let you decide who goes first and how you want to tell it, or you just want to, wherever you want.
Do you want to tell it?
The long version, the short version, but it's something our listeners really love to hear because they they hear themselves in everyone's stories.
Well, it started about 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Collin and I both went to Berklee College of Music up in Boston. I never met Collin there. I was there for a year. Yeah. Collin graduated.
Yeah, I really decided not to be famous.
Yeah, that's the way.
Exactly.
But we had a bunch of mutual friends, and when I moved back to Nashville, I just waited for everyone else to come, and once they did, me and Collin joined. We were just playing together a bunch and in a lot of different bands. We were in a band with this guy, Colin Elmore, who we got Sony Nashville with, and we ended up figuring out how to trick Sony into letting us produce that EP together.
Okay, we didn't trick them into letting us produce the EP. There was nothing untoward.
But our pitch was basically, guys, we can do this for $3,000, and they were like, cool. Go for
sounds
it,
good.
Yeah, sounds cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
So we did it. It was great. We had so much fun doing it. Record never got released. Classic. Until years later. But after that, we just, we had so much fun doing that we were like, maybe we should do this more often. And slowly but surely, Collin was producing a lot of records. I was playing on them. And then, we started getting a little bit more team-oriented or duo-oriented and, really vibing off of each other.
Yeah.
And COVID happened, and I had just finished building my studio in the backyard.
Yep.
And after that, we kind of were like, well, I mean, like, let's lock in together and, do this. And we've been doing it really ever since COVID.
Yeah. 100%. It was always before that. It was like, when a budget would allow for it, or when we felt like, like it would be a really good fit. We would really try to sell the artist on working on it. We were working on tiny budgets at the time. So, it wasn't always feasible for that. You know what I mean? Like, we were doing stuff, a lot of stuff was like really small budgets. So we'd get around it by having a lot of pre-pro or rehearsals, hiring a bunch of musicians, going in. We've genuinely done full length records in 3 days before at a studio.
Oh, wow.
With enough like hideous shit, like really. And just because budgets were so constrained. And yeah, I don't know. There was kind of like just a moment where we kind of locked in, the two of us, and we realized how specific we could get about every individual sound when we were both coming from different perspectives with a shared goal and not trying to, convince the guitar player or the piano player to do the thing that was in our heads. Right. I think that happens all the time, and it happens now still, where like, we'll be like, man, neither me or Jake are particularly spectacular guitar players, and we'll have someone come in who's amazing, and they're coming in after the fact without all the context of the record that we've been working on, and we're like, it's not that they're doing anything wrong. They are coming in and doing exactly the job we asked them to do, and then we go, oh, sick, amazing, you can play, and then they leave, and we're like, it's not quite right. You know what I mean? So we realized that we can kind of skip a step. And also, we never run into the problem where you go like, all right, cool, we need electric guitar here, and then you pick up an electric guitar and it sucks, and then and you go, but now you've hired a guitar player, and they're a friend of yours, and they're amazing, so you're like, all right, let's figure it out. And if it's just the two of us, it's like, okay, it's not a guitar, like maybe it's a piano or acoustic, or it's like pivot. It's
kind of like forces
pivot.
you to do like some of those like limitations, right? Where
Yeah.
it like forces you to be a little bit more creative.
Totally.
Where it's like, I would love to have session players in at least the option to, right?
Of course.
The option to like at least explore. And it's like, even if we record, this is what ends up happening with me whenever I use session players, where it's like, all right, they'll come over, they'll like record shit for like, what, 2-3 hours.
Totally.
And they'll do parts on everything, layers, blah, blah, blah. And then like, that one thing they did was cool and everything else was like really
100%.
unnecessary.
Yep.
Right.
Totally.
But that's the process sometimes.
That is.
Totally.
Yep.
You know,
You're just
and-
throwing
and-
paint at the wall.
Right, and you're like seeing what's. I mean, that's how I work myself, right? I'll be in here and I'll like put down like God knows how many ideas, and I was like, well, that one weird flute thing I did work, so I guess we'll take that.
4 hours ago.
4 hours
Yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
right, yeah. It's like thank God I like made like a reminded myself of it. Yeah, I used to work in kind of like a somewhat of like a duo too.
Yep.
Our listeners know I used to work with David Arkwright a lot. We like shared a studio.
Yep.
And
Very cool.
kind of the same thing. Like this is something that like is just good for like people. Like you don't have to be in a duo, but just like when you're
No.
co-producing,
Yeah.
it's hard because we were by default like working together. We shared a studio, so it just made sense. Where it's like, oh, we'll do our
Totally.
sessions together. We can get
Totally.
stuff done. But then there were projects where it was like, ah, man, this one like they're only paying me $1,000.
Yep.
Right.
I don't even know if it's worth it to bring you in on this. Like,
Totally.
it's like you know what I mean. And the fact that I think it's important to have that. I don't know if the word's humility. But
Yeah.
just be like, yeah, totally. Like,
Oh,
we'll get
yeah.
the next one.
Open relationship.
It's an open relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of music is one gigantic open relationship.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
the second
yeah,
you
totally.
take something too personally, it's like, all right, cool. Like you're
Yeah.
never getting called back in 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like at all.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
budget related. Sometimes it's creatively.
Totally.
And everything is fair game. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, to be very honest with you guys and our listeners, like, that took me a second to like,
Yeah.
kind of like get over. Like, I've always been, I've been with my wife now for 16 years. I've always been like a girlfriend guy, right? Like, I've never been like a player. I'm like, nah, it's me and you, right? And, it took me like, and thank God, like, David gave me like a lot of grace where like I would get like a little jealous where he would like do a session with someone that like we were working with a lot. And I was like, I know I'm being a little bit ridiculous, but like that made me feel a certain way. And he was like, listen, man, this is what happened. And like, this is why. And like the second it was explained, I was like, oh, okay, totally.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of like being okay with like having like those like open like questions and the fact that like I was comfortable enough with him, thank God, to like be like, hey man, like I don't like that I felt this,
Yeah.
but I did,
Yeah.
and
For
like we
totally.
should talk about it.
I mean, it's such an important relationship, right? And it's
Yeah.
also a business, So
Yeah,
like,
totally.
there's two sides of it. One of which is like, do we think we're nailing this creatively?
Mhm.
And
Totally.
also, do we think we're nailing this like personally?
Right.
Like, are we having a good time? Are we communicating properly?
Yeah.
Does the artist feel heard? Do you feel heard?
Totally.
Yeah.
Something that
it's
we
a balance.
something we had to work on a lot is not accidentally running an artist over, because it's really easy when there's three of us. On one hand, like one of the benefits of there being three people is that if two people think a certain way, it's really easy to be like, okay, cool, like the one person should probably like pivot their idea, recognize they're like maybe incorrect or that like
Right.
the tides are shifting a different way in a creative disagreement, which happens all the time, right? But but then at the flip side, it's like we have to remember all the time that we really count for like 49% of the vote.
Yeah.
right.
Artist
That's
is always
right.
51.
Artist is always
exactly.
51. Yeah.
That's what it. Yeah. I like that's something that we, Dave and I had to learn too. Like we still work together a decent amount, not nearly as much
Yep.
as when we shared a studio, right?
Sure.
But it's like he and I had, like we could just like kind of look at each other a lot of time and be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's not working, or like, we gotta, like, look, we
Silent
have to convince them
communication.
that this is the right move.
Oh, yeah.
But and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad.
Yep.
But I do very much prefer to work in threes for that exact reason.
100%.
It's just like I'll do one-on-ones very rarely. I'll only do
Yeah.
it with people who are like I have a very long relationship with.
Yep.
And it's like we're just sitting and writing a song. I'm not even like touching the computer, kind of a thing. Like that's
Completely.
not what I do. But the threes is like really important just because like what you're just also like upping it by what 50% that you'll have like more ideas, right?
Totally.
Like
100%. If you're truly collaborating, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. And especially like lyrically too. Like sometimes like I'm dead, the other person's dead, but then you have that third person. They're like, I got all this fucking
Oh,
written
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Completely.
It's fucking amazing. So I'm curious. Typical sessions for you guys, like you're mostly working with artists. So it's such a
Yep.
fucking blessing that you guys get to do that.
Yeah.
What's let's say new artists coming by to work with you guys that like you guys found or they found you and you're like, oh, this could be a thing. how does that relationship usually start? Like, do you guys like to get more than one day with an artist? What's the usual vibe?
It's something we're still like, always trying to figure out. But like, I feel like our routine is pretty good. These days we're trying to book more than one day at a time because it's really, really hard to get to know someone in 6 hours. So when you can have 2 days, 3 days a week, you can really get to know each other. You can fuck up a couple times. You can explore. You can do whatever. But something that we take very, very sacredly is lunch. We will all eat food together during the day and not think about music and or
think about music.
Think about music, but not.
But you're not in the studio. Like we leave the studio and we get lunch. We drive in someone's car 15 minutes down the road and we get a food.
Yeah, it's so much more fun to make music with friends than with what feels like a client,
Well, I mean, especially with artists, because you guys don't really like do any like pitch sessions at all, I'm assuming.
No, we've done a couple.
We've done a couple, and we've never had a good chance with it.
Listen, I mean, most of the time you're not, let's be honest here.
Totally.
But like, I kind of work similarly when I'm working with artists, right? Artists versus like the LA pitch. I mean, like LA's like pitch writing has kind of seeped into working with artists, unfortunately.
Sure.
Where it's like a lot of artists, they're just like flip-flopping over to new people all the time. And I try to very much like grind against that. I think the lunch thing is so important. Like even if like I have to pay for lunch, which I'm more than happy to do, where it's like, this artist like has no money. Like I'll be like, hey, come on, let's go grab some lunch. It's on me.
Yeah,
like, don't worry about it. Kind of a thing. Like that to me is just a good investment. Like
100%
in a relationship. And getting out of the studio, like not feeling like, I think the important thing, I'm curious if you guys agree, is like getting out of the studio is important because like there's not that pressure where it's like, ooh, if we get onto something, conversation, we should start writing it. It's like, no.
Right.
Let's
just enjoy this.
No pressure.
Like that'll still be in your head when you get back.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe even it has time to simmer.
Dude, I mean, like, I feel like it's good in every way. It's like if you're onto something sick, there's usually a really clear moment where you're like, okay, let's pause. We've just done amazing work. Like the chorus is sick. We wrote a bridge. We got to come back and finish the second verse. But we love this song. Let's step out, come back. We get to look at it fresh. It's awesome. If the song isn't going great, it's a really easy way to be like, hey, let's like step out for a second. Maybe something's gonna like again click for us. We're gonna have some divine revelation and come back, and the song's gonna be amazing. Or we're gonna come back from lunch and go like, you know what? We're not having any fun. Why don't we pivot? Like let's do something else. Like let's find a new vibe.
That idea is still there.
The idea is still there. No, and it wasn't
never dead,
dude. It wasn't a waste. Like none of it's a waste. It's all just like.
You're sketching.
You're just you're taking sketches and trying to find something that's cool.
Yeah, I was in a session yesterday. The artist was like, her name is Blue Eyes, who will hopefully be a guest on here because she's an amazing producer herself. But she was like, kind of like saying like sessions, like being in sessions like we're like archaeologists and we're just like digging for things.
Yes.
And like seeing what we can find and like I call it painting, where I'm kind of painting and seeing like it's how I like to actually like draw. It's like I'll just kind of like draw scribble.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
See what happens. See if I could, see if I can find something cool. So you guys have lunch and you're like talking. What's the normal like? I know obviously every session is different, right? But let's say you end up like writing a song that day. How are you focused on getting only a sketch? Do you like to get a final vocal that first day? What's the kind of typical workflow?
I mean, I think we are always aiming on a final vocal, but we never want to push for that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we'll just like be like, oh man, do another take because you sound great. And we'll do 5 of those and then we'll piece it together.
And like, unless we're like, have a very rare occasion, like we're not whipping the demo mic out.
Yeah.
Like
no such thing.
It's the same mic. What are we doing? Like we're playing with we're playing with live ammo. You know what I mean? So, but I will say that I mean, first off, every vocalist is different, and if we're sitting down to get vocals for someone's record, like we're gonna figure out, over a course of a song or two, like how that person really likes to record vocals. And we run the gamut between like people who, and I mean run the gamut with spectacular vocalists, where some spectacular vocalists, they want to do 10 takes and get really nitty gritty on comping, and some of them just want to sing until it felt good and then, leave. And I sit there and I comp a little bit if I need to, but I try to make it the pass that felt special. Like we really, I don't want to say we're lazy with vocals. It's just, I think everything's different, and sometimes artists need a little bit of like a little bit of kick in the ass to like perform all the way, and some artists need to be told like, hey, your second take was perfect.
Yep.
Please stop stressing about this.
Yes.
Like it's awesome. Here, let me show you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we kind of on day one we get what we get.
Yeah.
We try to make it fun to listen to, especially if we like the song.
Yeah.
But very rarely are we doing like a voicemail.
Yeah. So like make it fun to listen to. This is another question that I know listeners and even myself, every producer is like, when do you give the bounce? So like what's kind of like your like philosophy with that? When it's and like mind you, I know it's different when like it's like you're working with an artist for a month.
Yeah,
Very
totally.
different. I'm kind of talking about more of these like first
One-offs.
sessions where you're like building that relationship one-off kind of thing.
I mean,
it's usually day of. We
yeah,
get a
it's
bounce.
usually day of. You get a bounce, and like we know, we've got, we've got our short way, and sometimes the short way is the most creative and coolest way,
Yeah.
and because again, we're just sketching,
Totally.
and we'll slap a master bus on it, make it loud, make it feel fun to listen to. And sometimes that's just done,
I mean, so one of the things that I think, one of our strengths as a unit is that we can get from nothing to something really fast. And the way our studio is set up, we have mics on drums at all times. We have mics on piano at all times. Bass is a plug away. Electric guitar is a plug away. We can get to like basics of a studio day. If no one is having like hard opinions about things and we're kind of just flowing and everything's kind of working, we get to basics in like an hour and a half. Really quickly, things are sounding like there's a band in the room. And obviously, like that's not all the time, but it's a lot of the time. So for us, like end of day is like oftentimes day one of production, unless we feel like we biffed it hard, and then but the artist loves the song and wants to do wants to redo the thing, But that's kind of where we're at most of the time. If the song was a chore,
the magic is there that day one.
Totally.
So it's why I try and be like so intentional, where it's like either I'm like I'm gonna make something so shitty that we have to do it again.
Yeah,
You know what I
totally.
mean?
Yeah, like I'm literally slapping this on here so it can get done.
No doubt.
Or it's like, okay, no. This is like I'm gonna record this acoustic guitar correctly, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
like we're all gonna fall in love with it just because of like demoitis is a real thing.
Oh, it's so
And,
real.
Like and like we're gonna do it, and like that's
Yeah.
just kind of what it is. Well, I'm curious because it's something I always struggle with, like.
Totally.
And maybe it's because I'm by myself, and I would love
Yeah.
to have that other person to engineer. But when like even acoustic guitar, right, a real piano,
Yep.
telling everyone in the room to like shut up so you can record it. Like, what's that process normally like for you guys?
It's usually just, hey, shut up really quick. We got to do this, or it's, hey, keep talking. It sounds cool in the microphone.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure. Like we really like a lot of the stuff we work on. It's indier. It's a little it's kind of not scuffed on purpose, but it's not scuffed derogatory.
We are truly not precious about like background noise and stuff like that.
No,
It's
not at all.
Like you're people in a room making something, and like if it sounds like that, I'm gonna connect to it because I'm gonna have the memory of making it, and someone else might not because they're like, why are there birds in this song?
Yeah,
I
completely. Yeah.
I have that philosophy too, but I actually have a harder time convincing like the other people
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like I hear that thing. I'm like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's there.
completely.
It happened.
Well,
Like,
some people are bugged by stuff, and some people aren't.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
sometimes we're bugged by that too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh,
the other day-
I am all people.
Oh yeah,
in this scenario.
Yeah, the other day.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the other day, I was the guy who was like, I can just hear the snare drum from the old thing and that acoustic guitar,
Totally.
and now I got to be the guy who's like, sorry guys, can we please re-record it?
Yeah,
'Cause
for
it's
sure.
distracting.
All right, whatever, bullshit.
No, it's all good.
No. Okay, good. So let me actually get back on track here and look at my notes because I have a
take your time.
whole thing
whole
out
thing.
here. A whole thing. Yeah, dude. So I mean, speaking of like background noise and everything, I think one of the things that I really love most about your records that I find to be pretty consistent is how well everything is recorded. It's really raw. I mean, like obviously I don't know, and like I know you guys have like some nice gear and like some great instruments there, but it feels like there's like pretty minimal processing on stuff. At least once you're in the box, like what's kind of like the ideology there?
I mean, Collin is such a great engineer, and we've also learned so much throughout the years of like how other people work too hard for things sometimes.
Yeah.
I I always think about we were doing a record like the first one that we ever did together, and we needed an acoustic guitar on it.
Yeah.
The guy who's mixing it, Jason Hall is his name, who's just amazing.
He's been Jay Joyce's engineer for years.
Yep. And he was just like, "Hey, this needs an acoustic guitar," and we were like, "Yeah, we recorded it and it sounded like shit," And he was like, "Well, go grab a 57, put it in front of an acoustic and go for it."
Yeah.
And we were like, it can't be that easy. And
So I did.
Out, so ever since then, we've been pretty unprecious about like how we mic things. We just like we have a couple nice mics.
Yep.
We've got like one compressor. We've got nice sounding.
What's the compressor? People are gonna want to know.
We just got a BG2.
Yeah,
Highland Dynamics BG2.
And it is awesome.
Yeah,
we'll be getting the BG1 soon.
Yeah, we will.
It's just awesome.
It's too good.
Yep.
And we need it in stereo. I honestly might get another BG2 and mix through it. It's fucking okay. We're so not gear guys. Like genuinely. Like we run the whole studio on a 5 or 6 year old 8-channel Apollo 8P.
We have a $100 mixing console that we put our mics into sometimes.
For color. We're really like we're minimal preamps, minimal stuff. I can't believe how good this fucking compressor is.
It's crazy.
It's so annoying.
Yeah,
it's so annoying.
I met Bryce a couple weeks ago.
Oh man,
Bryce Gonzalez is BG. Like he's
my compliments to the chef. Holy shit!
Yeah,
he's a really nice guy. They do like if you guys are ever in LA, and they do this thing here in Eagle Rock where it's I forget the guy's name, but like a couple like super high like audio guys like they get together at this one bar, and it's just kind of like you just like talk, and like it's like you're a nerd if you're going to this. But Bryce is there. He's like one of the co-hosts.
Cool.
And he's like a really cool, interesting guy.
So sick.
And it's like compliments to you guys too, but it's like I think like he cares.
Yeah,
he cares a lot, and he's had like a lot of like. And I'm sorry if I shouldn't be saying this, but I feel like he's pretty open about it. He's like had a lot of opportunities to expand, and he's just like, no, like I want to be, right, It's like I want to be hands on. I want to make this gear like how it's supposed to be made.
Yeah,
and it's like, fuck yeah, I respect, yeah,
fuck yeah, dude, it's amazing. I will say this: none of the records that we've worked on that are out that anyone will have heard of have used it.
So it's everything coming out.
Everything coming out
from now on.
It's going to sound. Now your records are going to make it.
Now
guys.
they're going to sound good.
It's going to sound the same probably. I will say like a lot of the stuff we've done, most of the stuff we've done in the last 5 years has been at our home studios. We did work out of a couple of amazing studios for some of the other records that we've done. It was all budget dependent. We worked out of a spot here called Trace Horse, which the guy who masters a lot of our records, a guy named Preston Cochran. Used to own with his buddy Scotty Prudhoe. They are spectacular engineers and producers in their own right. Their space was amazing. We also worked with our buddy Zach Zink out of Smokestack Studios in Nashville, which is Paul Milk's spot. He's the head engineer there. I think he's the head engineer there. I could be wrong about that. He's great.
No, I mean it sounds like you guys like I have a very similar philosophy. It's like getting good sounds going in, and that doesn't mean having all this ridiculous gear.
Totally.
I think it's just like good parts, like being recorded well.
Yeah,
if it's played well, it's gonna sound good.
Totally.
Being played well is 99.9% of it.
You can.
No one will ever convince me otherwise. That it's just like it's in the playing, and it's in like like you're gonna get so much more character out of how soft you're strumming that guitar versus what mic you're using.
100%.
100%.
And wait, I do want to say one thing though about this.
Yes.
We use a lot of drum samples.
Okay, I was going to ask that eventually.
We use a lot of them. Not always, and not everything.
Yeah.
There are records that we use none of them, and there are, but almost like 99% of the time we're supplementing kick or snare or toms. 99% of the time, and we're trying to we're trying to make it sound like the drums we want in our heads.
That makes me feel so much better because I actually like I'm such a big fan of your guys' records, and like whenever I record real drums, I'm always like, this sounds great, but like I want this extra thing, and I always feel guilty for like layering.
Dude, I think you're made to feel guilty about it.
You are made to feel guilty
because
about
you should work to make it as close as possible, right?
Right.
But then you want the snare to be even. You want it to be like I don't know. You want it to sound different than what it does right now,
dude. So I have a lot of genuinely very, very hard, annoyed thoughts about this. So,
Yeah.
in audio school, they tell you like a lot of things, and a
Right.
lot of it's wrong. The main one that they tell you that if I could tell anyone who is at school for audio to not listen to, it is to not overcompress something. I do not think that that is true. Like, I think you should overcompress everything, and you should figure out where it sucks. Like, and then when you think it's good, it probably is. Like, and frankly, like, unless you've completely mangled the signal, you can probably fix something that's overcompressed with more compression.
Yeah.
I love compression. So that is like thing one. Thing two, oh my god, everyone samples their fucking drums. Like, it's I hate the way compression sounds on snare top mics. I hate it. And the way that I get around it is that I layer in drum samples so that I can have a more compressed snare without fucking...
I love that because it's so funny. I just had my good buddy and mixer and vocal producer Dennis Koshak the other day, and we're talking about it, and like we have like a friendly disagreement where I'm like, I like recording with a lot of for vocals. I have an 1176. I love what it does. Anytime it's compressing, I'm like, that sounds fucking awesome to me.
Totally.
And he's like, I hate recording compression on vocals. He's like, I'd rather like have it go through the compressor just to do it. And it's just like, again, he's doing like very clean like pop and R&B, which I get. I was like, and the thing is like, we're doing different things.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it's like my taste is that like I like the character that compression gives. I like leaning into it. I like, and the same thing. It's like, if people come over and they were to like see like how much I'm hitting my 76, they're gonna be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing what I think is great."
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, exactly. Before you guys had the BG2 with like vocals, were you like compressing vocals going in, or were you just doing more in the box?
Just in the box. We would do like the LA2A and 1176 or something like that.
But usually it's 2A 76, not 76 2A for us. Which is I think it's kind of weird. I'm not quite sure why.
I think we just did it on accident one day. We were like, that sounds really nice.
What's doing more of the heavy lifting of the compression?
We'll smash it with the 2A, and then we'll limit it with the
76.
With the 76.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know most people like they're taught like fast and slow, and like, that's normally what I do too. But like when people like say it like that, I'm like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense, right? You're doing like almost rounding with like an opto compressor, and then like peak catching with a 76 or a faster.
100%.
And like who knows if it's right or not, but like it sounds good.
There's no right or wrong. It just sounds good. And it's
like,
and it's you're just like kind of doing it like in my thought too. It's like I kind of do that a lot when I'm before I had my real 76 here. I would actually like clip gain and then go into like an 1176 where I'm like, okay, I'm like controlling how much compression I'm doing, compression, whatever the fuck you want to call it, dynamic processing. And then I'm saying how much I want that 76 to like hit it. And it's 100% just like catching peaks, right? So
totally
100%.
A million different ways to skin a cat, as we know.
Million, and none of them are right or wrong.
100%. Yeah. The meme of the beginner audio engineer who's like, I don't know, I'll just point a mic at it, and then the inexperienced medium audio engineer losing their minds, and then the experienced guy going like, I don't know, I'll point a mic at it. It's very true. Real. Like
it's so true. I try and like do that. Like I find that I get some of my most enticing sounds when I'm not really thinking too much. It's like, all right, well, I got to get this down. Like, I'll just point this mic here and just like fucking play it. But I will say on the other hand, like there are times when I have like, a lot of energy at night. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just see. Like a couple weeks ago, I think we spoke. You guys work with Caitlin Tarver, right?
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, we love Caitlin. So I have a record that's coming out with Caitlin. It'll probably be out once this podcast comes out.
Cool.
Awesome. And I kind of went in because it was just like her vocal, and it was going to be either like only piano or only guitar. I was just kind of like really experiment because I was like, oh man, this song is excellent. And I kind of went ham on the piano. I recorded it like 3 different times. And the last time I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have a little bit of fucking fun right now. I'm going to put like 7 mics on this piano. And like, just to see what it was like to me, I wasn't like trying to be pompous or anything about it.
Of course. These are here.
Like, let's see what happens. And I got like a really great sound out of it.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And like, I don't think I'm I muted any of them either. Like some of them were pretty low in the mix.
Totally,
Yeah,
but
sure.
you got to keep them in there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like the amount of times that we'll just like be playing drums. It'll sound like the drums that we record every time, and we've got 4 random mics like around the room that we're like, well, you know what, just see what
Turn it on.
happens, you know?
Right.
And then
And
you
you can
go
always mute
in,
'em.
You
Yeah.
can always mute them,
Yeah.
but like
Right.
you know, you've got some different flavor to like mess with, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, I didn't realize it could be so like. Ruckus or whatever, you
Yeah,
know,
totally.
and then it informs the next thing, you know. Yeah.
Totally.
Always
It's really cool and it's fun. And I think it's like, the pushback of like AI, right? Is everyone's like, the one guy was like, no one likes making music. It's really hard. I'm like, I don't know. Isn't that like kind of the point
That's
to
the
like,
beauty.
Yeah, man.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it fun to like experiment and be like, what the fuck? What if I do this?
How? Like
it's
how?
Totally.
If you're not bored with yourself all the time, how are you
Yeah.
ever like having fun? You
Yeah,
know, like
100%.
it's just all these like dopamine addicted people where it's like, oh, try again.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to just like kind of like getting good at your craft. It's not even getting good. It's just like being open to like
that's it.
being like, what does this do?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
feeling like a kid, essentially. Just being
That's-
like, I don't know, what if I put my finger in the electric socket? Like,
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah.
right?
The amount of times.
The harmonic distortion is insane.
Yeah. Colin and I will just get really bored, and we'll like dangle mics from the ceiling,
Yeah.
throw them
Yeah.
in like a
Plumb line or whatever the fuck.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
totally.
like a cup of water on the piano.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, that
yeah.
was cool. Yeah, we stuck a 57 into a plastic bag and then into a cup of water, and then we sat it on the piano, and Jake played piano, and it sounded awesome.
Sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
But
there's
like
fun stuff like that.
That sounds like so much fun. But yeah, I just like wish like I'm hoping like producers coming up like listen to episodes like this and like
Yeah.
be inspired to just be like, I don't fucking know. What if I do this? Like,
Yeah,
let's see
like
what happens.
there's
you
no
know?
wrong answers.
totally.
You know,
Yeah.
just have fun.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll get an email from someone who's in college or who's in high school, and they're asking me about a specific sound on a specific record, and I'll pull it up, and inevitably, it's like essentially it's like an electric guitar in a moment of silence, and they're like,
Right.
"How did you make that guitar sound so big?" And I'm like, I have no idea, but you know why it sounds huge? Because it's just the guitar. Like,
Right.
it sounds
Right.
special because there's nothing else going on. And I think, like, that's the biggest thing with regards to miking or processing anything, is that if you want something to sound huge, like, don't crowd it.
Right. Less
Get
is
the other
more.
shit out of the way. Like,
Yeah.
less is way more.
I think it's important for like people to like, again, all go through the same thing where it's like you start off producing minimal because you just don't have things, then you start like overproducing because you have all the things, and you start
100%.
layering the fuck out of things, and then you're like, actually, I'm like, I've done too much, and
Yeah.
I need to like I love to, kind of in like the final stages of production, like playing the mute game,
Yeah.
where it's
yeah.
like, okay, I love like putting down a shit ton of ideas because you never
Totally.
know what you can do, and you can
Yeah.
always like use like reuse and like
Little
recycle.
bits. Yeah.
Right. But then like playing the mute game, be like, all right, does it need this organ? Like it's like, nope, it doesn't need it.
Isn't that like the classic artist game, right? It's like
Yeah.
chefs do it, painters do it, where they're like, it's like you go through like the childhood phase and then like the ultra realism phase and then back to like abstraction or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it's I think it's Tyler the Creator. He was like, I like to like create like a what is it? Create like a child and edit like a scientist.
Yeah. That's
you
it.
know, like just like explore and then like okay, like edit and like kind of get in there and
Yeah.
do the thing.
Totally.
Get a little bit more nitty gritty.
Sure.
And like your kind of like day one bounces or like final bounces here.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to talk about it, we can cut this out.
Sure.
How heavy handed do you guys like to go on like a mix bus or like food group?
Fairly.
There's the answer.
I
Okay.
would say
fairly.
I would say that we have a top down approach to mixing and mastering.
Okay.
Not that we do a lot of mastering, but we don't send quiet mixes, and we don't send quiet mixes to mastering unless really very much requested by the.
Are you guys usually
team.
like doing the final mixes, or are you like it's kind of
90% of the time? It depends.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I could go through specifics.
no,
Jake and I mixed the Ashe record.
okay? I mean, like what's like I know obviously mix buses change, but like for our listeners, I'm sure they're gonna love to hear like what are you putting on the mix bus?
We've used the Townhouse compressor in our first slot for years now.
from Plugin Alliance. That thing's awesome.
Okay.
Just sort of kissing it.
Yep.
These days we've got
Honestly, it depends on if the session is coming from Jake's house or not.
Yeah, that's true.
We actually have like slightly different sets of plugins. I have more on my rig, which is kind of annoying. We should honestly just like we should just homogenize it at some point.
You should, because this is what a lot of people don't know is that like most things you have like
Many
2,
things.
3, 4
Yeah.
slots.
Oh,
that
yeah.
You can just, this is Dave and I, like we share, we literally bought each other a second iLock. And so we would, right. And so, because you're allowed to do that. And we would
Yeah,
put
totally.
like other licenses where it's like, oh, I got this. I'll put it on your iLock so you have
Yep.
access to it.
100%.
Fun little fact. Okay, enough. Back
Yeah,
up.
we should
Back up.
definitely be doing that.
We should do
But
that. We
we-
honestly should.
we haven't yet.
We haven't. No. So at Jake's house, we sometimes use the Shadow Hills compressor on a lot of stuff. After that, we get a little woke with it. There's a few things that happen. If we want to go like really heavy-handed, I say okay. If we always kind of want to go really heavy-handed, with some exceptions. There's a few different things that let us go really heavy-handed. The black box harmonic thing. There's a setting in there called 3 o'clock party that bangs, and the trick is to turn there's a knob at the top right. It's called density or something like that.
Yeah.
Turn the density down. It starts at like negative 50%, and sometimes I feel like that's too distorted, so I turn that down.
Right.
That's awesome. The Waves Infected Mushroom Pusher.
Oh, okay. I don't think
so
I've ever
sick.
used that.
It's a disgusting plugin.
Use it on drums.
Use it
It's
on
amazing.
drums. Use it on drums, and what is the first preset? We're
yeah,
preset
just
boys,
click-
genuinely.
Yeah.
Click one over. And
Click
you're-
one
yeah,
over,
you're
and
there.
it's fucking sick.
It's great.
So that sometimes goes on the mix bus if we want it to kind of like fucking go. After that, okay, so something that happens to me on mix buses that bothers the shit out of me is that when you start compressing stuff to the amounts that I want to compress things, you start to get all these weird little resonant peaks in the overall mix, and I find that I haven't found like a dynamic EQ that handles those in a way that is very musical. Not like, or I should say, Soothe does a really bad job of fixing that to me. Same is true for like FabFilter Pro Q4 and the dynamic EQ, like the auto dynamic setting or whatever.
Right.
I've tried a bunch of different things. The thing that works best is, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I love this plugin, Shep's Omnichannel. The
Really? Okay, I
de-esser-
like that. Yeah.
So that's maybe my favorite plugin of all time.
Wow.
Is Chef's
Okay.
Omnichannel. I think if I had to get rid of every other plugin on the planet, we could do it with that.
Yeah.
But the de-esser on that, the little the narrowest notch,
Yeah.
it's disgusting. It's so good. You can really dial in exactly which peaks are the most annoying. It's great for actually de-essing the mix bus, but it's also great at those like resonant frequencies that sometimes singers
Just
have
like
when they
poking
belt.
out. Yeah.
Yep. And we will sometimes stack like 3 of those in a row just for the dynamic EQ.
Right, because it's like you can't do more than one like
You
frequency.
can do
on
2
it.
at a time.
2 per plugin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So our mix bus is oftentimes like 3 or 4 chips.
Yeah.
In series.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And then sometimes ozone limiter, sometimes God particle, sometimes master plan.
Yeah.
okay.
those
I
are
don't know
the-
Master Plan. I gotta check that out. Yeah.
Oh, Master Plan's gross. You should check out
Okay,
Master Plan.
okay, I'll
Master
check
Plan
it
is
out,
so sick. Don't when you use, first off, the EQ on Master Plan is great. The multiband compressor is too specific for me most of the time, but when it works, it's fucking unbelievable. And then the clipper on it is really good.
Okay. I gotta check that out.
The other thing that we use on Mixbus sometimes is the Apogee soft clip plugin that they gave away for free a few years ago, and they haven't updated it for the new Mac architecture. So we're running in Rosetta so we can use soft clip.
God. I will say the jump to native was like so. To me, it was like how much better everything ran was so significant that I was just like, I had a couple plugins that like now they're all back, but like I was like, you know what, I'm willing to forego this because this runs so much fucking better.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's
I'm
real.
waiting-
It's a real shame.
There's no. I don't think they can even make it. Like, there's no like Rosetta wrapper, unfortunately.
There's no Rosetta wrapper.
Yeah,
it's a shame. Yeah, it's really annoying.
God.
The last plugin on Mixbus that I'll talk about that's really good is the Amec EQ 200.
Okay. Yeah.
From Plugin Alliance. That thing's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. Fucking great stuff.
Yeah.
If you're feeling spicy, a little decapitator.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Totally.
hey.
You know?
Decapitator.
Dude, the Sean
you know-
Everett Decapitator Punish is just
There you go.
like it's so sick. Any track.
You know
It's
what I've
good.
been using a lot that I've been really loving, kind of similar to like I kind of trade off between Black Box and the BB Tubes by Waves.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
man.
know it.
We haven't gotten
Oh, dude,
hang
I think
on.
you guys are gonna love it.
Yeah.
I'm writing
like,
this down.
yeah.
I'm not texting.
Yeah.
I'm really writing
It's
this
like
down.
I think it's the best plugin they've made in the last like 10 years.
that. Oh, that's great.
Ooh.
It's just
Love
like it's a little bit more musical than
Cool.
the God, I'm
Black
blanking
Box?
out. Black Box.
Yeah.
But yeah, on my instrument bus, I kind of like will cycle between those, like, and just like see what flavor it's doing. And I'm
I
like, a
love
lot
that.
of the times I end up like sticking with the BB tubes for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
That's
Totally.
awesome.
A little bit more pleasing
That's
to
hot.
my ear. Yeah,
We'll be getting that immediately.
It is hot.
It's hot.
We're getting it right now.
It's hot.
Okay, I fucking love that. So, one thing I wanted to ask too, you guys, before we do our song deep dives here,
Sure.
is you guys talking about you have a pretty, not a crazy mic collection, but a pretty great mic collection. I'd love to know, like, what are your kind of like go-tos for like for the vocal? Like, what's the basic vocal chain that you're working with?
It's this guy right here. It's like a 90s 414.
Yeah, if you can find a vintage 414 with that still has a transformer in it, you don't need the like insane C12 capsule or whatever. This is just like at some point they stopped putting the transformer in it, and it sounds amazing. We used it on the whole Ashe record. We used it on a couple of Lucy Dacus's songs, I think.
Yep.
That made it on the last album. Yeah, it's kind of like our go-to. It's just a blank slate for us.
Yep.
And then most of the time it's going into a Mastering Labs ML1,
Okay.
which is a tube preamp. It's like it's pretty hi-fi and pretty rare. An engineer named Gary Pachoza turned us onto it. We borrowed one for our friend Katie Pruitt's record a while back. And then it left the studio after we finished the record, and it was we needed it. So we found a guy who was building new ones to spec from the old diagrams. So we used that into the BG2. Beforehand, it was just straight into Pro Tools. Some compression, some EQ, some verb sometimes.
It's so funny. That's how I felt about the B2 Bomber by Earl.
Yeah.
For so long, it's like when I was sharing my studio with David Arkwright, like he had one, and we were like recording pretty much everything through it. And then when we got our own spaces, and like basically like the vocal chain at the spot was still like mostly my stuff except for that.
Yep.
And then when I got back here, I was like, oh no,
Gotta have it.
I'm gonna have to buy that.
Yeah,
because
totally.
it does a thing that I find really pleasing, or maybe I just got used to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it was like apparent where I was in my my new spot, and like it wasn't the room, it wasn't that. I was just like, oh no, it's like it's doing this specific harmonic shaping that I personally really love. And it's like
From my perspective, the Mastering Labs preamp plus the BG2 kind of makes a flat regular ass condenser mic sound very expensive. But like, if someone was coming to me and they said, hey, what are two pieces of gear I should buy? I wouldn't say it's those things. You know what I mean? Like,
so
like you don't need it, but it is nice to have.
It's nice to have. No, same thing with like the Burl. It's like I don't tell people like you gotta get
it.
You're not gonna have vocals without it.
Every job is gonna be shit. No, but it's like it was like one of those things where I was like, I missed what it was doing. And,
totally.
And it's like I'm putting less plugins on my vocal chain when I'm using it kind of a thing.
I don't know. And we're in an era too where like recording's getting really easy, and I applaud that it's getting really easy. I think it should be relatively easy to record high quality music or high quality sounding music. But at the same time, we're experts in the field. Like let's get nuts with it. Like let's make.
Well, it's exactly what I was saying earlier, where it's just like use the stuff and like see what it does, and like there's something like really fun about turning knobs and like see I'm pointing over here as my 76 is over here, like seeing if I push it more and like seeing what it does.
Turn the knobs, it feels good, and there's gonna be like you're creating an experience for people to when they work with you, and part of that experience is the gear you use and the space you're in. So like make those things awesome if you're trying to do this for a living.
Nah, dude, it's fun, man. It's just a lot of fun. Looking for another way to support what we do here at Producer Points? Head over to our Sound Better storefront or our Patreon, where you can find a bunch of great things to get from us. What are those things, you may ask? You can find production and vocal production templates made by yours truly. You'll also be able to find a bunch of other things that I'll be adding there in the coming months, including mentorship, songwriting advice, or anything else you guys would like on there. Let me know. Producer Pal subscribers will be able to get additional discounts on the Patreon only, not the Sound Better. All right, gang, back to the show.
100%.
Okay, so we're gonna go on to our next segment here. This is the song deep dives. And I was like I said, like I'm such big fans of your guys' work. I was so stoked that we met and hung, and we're doing this episode. And we're gonna start with Lucy Dacus's Last Time. The album, which I'm forgetting the album name.
Forever is a Feeling.
Forever is a Feeling. I fucking loved the album. It sounds so good. My personal favorite on it was Ankles. I fucking just like love the string sound that you guys got on it. So just we're gonna talk about.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that. That's we should. It's crazy because the string sound is. Oh, okay.
This was where we kicked Lucy out for a couple hours.
Yeah. It was half Jake playing a borrowed cello, one note at a time.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about this when we had
coffee.
Got some coffee.
Yeah. But yeah, we kind of went a note at a time and kind of put it all together. And then I think Lucy, after the fact, some months later, layered some real string players on top of it.
Good call.
It was a really good call. But yeah, it's that was nuts. That was
but I mean the whole album just like sounds really amazing. Lucy sounds particularly fantastic.
I agree.
And Lost Time is also one of my favorites on the record. So we start each one off with the story behind the song and how the write happened, or if she had it first. But what's the story behind how that record got started?
So Lucy came. We were, I think it was 2023.
Sounds right.
Summer 2023. We were about to come in and do some work with boygenius in Nashville on the little EP that finished off the record called The Rest. And Lucy had some time around that, and I believe she was sort of in between record deals at the time, and she was like, "Hey, I want to like kind of just get started on recording some stuff that might make the next record." And so she brought in a bunch of songs. It was kind of the first time that I think she had. So first off, Lucy writes like all of her own songs.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Jake and I have ever been part of a co-written song with her. Right. We do very like straight production with her, and we always have. But for this record, she'd written a bunch of love songs, and this one was one of our favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know. We kind of like started it. The record was a bit of a process. We started.
Here's a question that I think a lot of younger producers will have. Like,
sure.
What's the process of like working with an artist like Lucy who like she's writing all her own stuff.
Yep.
And is it that like she comes in and she's like, hey, I had this idea, or is she like kind of playing things in a voice memos for you and be like, which ones do you guys want to work on? Like, what's that process like for this song?
For this, she just sent us a folder with everything that was going on the record because she knows going in. She's like, these are the songs,
And I think maybe at this point she had like 8 or 9 of them written. I don't think the record was written.
Yeah.
Historically, Lucy has written the record, and then we get started. You know what I mean? Like, and oftentimes she will have had, like, I think on her record before this, Home Video, she had the whole album written, like,
and sequenced
while they were touring Historian.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but for this record, I don't think it wasn't completely done when we started, but she had a collection of songs, and I think the intention maybe was like we were half demoing, half seeing if we just like made magic. At this point, these early sessions.
We were calling it pre-production.
But most of it on this song ended up making the record. And this record process was a little convoluted. So she came. We did a bunch of work with her over a few weeks in the summer of 2023. She went back to LA. Did a few sessions with Blake Mills. Ended up booking some time with Blake to do the rest of the record. I think we touched like, was it 6 or 7 songs by that point?
I think we had touched like 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like gotten like a jumping off point for.
Yeah. So then she did a chunk of time with Blake, and then
we sent the sessions over there.
We sent all the sessions that we had over there. They had, in some cases, added to it, in some cases, redone it completely. And then a few months later, Lucy brought all of those sessions back to Nashville, where we went back in, and Jake and I kind of like finished everything up. There were also a few sessions where she did some things with Barty Strange and a couple other producers whose names I'm completely spacing on right now. In fact, can I just check on that really fast?
Please.
I want to make sure I get that right.
And it's nice too, just like curious, like everyone's like kind of working in Pro Tools, so you're just like sending the sessions back and forth as opposed to stems.
Yeah. Lucy was fully the point person on this record, though.
Yeah.
The producers actually had largely no contact with one another. Right. It was pretty funny. Oh, Andrew Lappin was another one who did some production on this. I think he's an LA guy. I've never met him. On Forever is a Feeling, the title track, there's Melina Duterte. I'm so sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. Blake, Bartiz, and Andrew Lappin. But the bulk of it was Lucy, Blake, and me and Jake, I think. And then Andrew Lappin came on some, and Bartiz came on some. And then
I
Melina
love
came
that.
in on a couple others. Yeah. So
I'm curious. I guess with that being said, like having gone back and forth, that main guitar, do you know what that was? Is this something you guys did, or
that was something?
That was something that we did. That was something. So Lost Time was one that we had done like a pretty like finished recording of first time through.
Yeah.
And then Lucy and Blake explored it a little bit more, got some more ideas, and then came back and. I think we were all kind of like, okay, how do we like sort of mesh these worlds together? And the one main thing was the acoustic guitar in it.
Yeah.
The original that we did. There was just something like that we couldn't recreate with it. You know, we did it with the windows open. There's like,
speaking of background noise.
Yeah, speaking of background noise, there's like
onto
birds in the background that like for some reason when they were gone, it stopped feeling like a song, you know, and stopped feeling like so intimate, you know.
There was also like credit to Jake. And I guess some not credit to Jake. Jake played it in a specific way that day, and it was just perfect.
Right.
Like the pocket was right, and we kept trying to figure out exactly what tuning got used and exactly how he did it that day, and like we weren't getting it right.
Well, that's the thing too, that like sometimes like when you record that first guitar and you have that specific pocket, now everything was recorded around her. Everything else was built around that.
Yep.
And you're just like, well, this is what it is now. And
once you take that one thing out, it changes everything.
It changes the whole vibe of the thing.
Yeah. Was it a rubber bridge guitar or not? It sounds like
it's like a $75 nylon string that maybe we put some tape on it or something like that, you know. But
Jake and I don't. Well, actually, we have a rubber bridge now.
We just got one
recently. We're very late to the game.
Yeah, we tried to like push it off until it was less cool.
Have you guys seen this little guy yet? They're like they make things now, but it's like from like an old tennis thing.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I have one.
Yeah. So they're great. Like you can they work really well.
They work really well. The other thing we do is just gaff tape everything.
Gaff tape the bridge or whatever.
Is
that what it's
called? A big
bridge.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the bridge. Or the nut.
The bridge.
The nut, the bridge.
Whatever part, by the strings. The bit by the strings.
The strings connect to the guitar with.
I love it.
Yeah. So that was that seemed like a really important piece to the puzzle and then there were just like some like really interesting like passing chord decisions that she and Blake did that we were like, okay, but that's like pretty special. How do we do that? But like,
how do we keep it?
But how do we not replace all of this stuff? So we're like, okay, well, what happens when we play the piano and do something weird like that? And then it's like kind of sloppy and cool and weird.
I genuinely think like if you take Blake out of it entirely, I think Lucy, Jake, and I put like 10 days into that song.
Yeah.
Like 10 full days into trying to get that song right.
I mean, it sounds great and it makes sense. Everything feels really intentional.
It was a special song. And a lot of the decisions that we ended up coming back to were ones that we made day one. Which was hard for me at least to wrap my head around. You know what I mean? Like
sometimes you got to get all the way out. To decide that you were
right
close.
day one.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things about the record, I'm going to keep saying that because I really do love it, is throughout the album, but this record specifically, is the upfrontness and the dryness of her vocal. What's the technique there? Is there just a bunch of compression? And then are you really doing like no verb? It's just like what was happening in the room that day for the most part?
A lot of the time, like we, there's that Sheryl Crow record, Tuesday Night Music Club, which has like, I think sort of defined our vocal production since like really paying attention to that, which is just like, it's clipping, it's dry, it's into a really nice preamp, you know, and it's really like Unprecious, and there's something so magical about that sort of thing.
If you're ever worried your vocal is too dry, just listen to that record.
Yeah.
It's not. I promise. I promise it's not too dry. I
And
don't.
it's such a personal record, right?
Sure,
it's like
totally.
if she's far away, who's she talking to?
Totally.
You know?
Here's the other context too that I think sometimes people like forget about is that
Yeah.
you need to be a really good singer.
Oh, you got to be
Like-
amazing.
like-
Either
like-
that or really bad. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
one
like
of the two.
spectacularly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Lucy definitely falls into the former.
Yeah. It's like when she sings in the room, you go like, how do I just listen to that?
Yeah,
I want that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
completely.
want.
Yeah, there's nothing more special.
completely. And I think vocal mics were a little all over the place on this record too.
Yeah.
I think she and Blake did a bunch of random stuff that got kept. When we were at Trace Horse, I think we ended up having her on like a 251 clone.
Yep.
We used the 414 at the house. Sometimes it was an SM7. Sometimes, honestly, I think lately she's been using a 58, and it's been fire for her, like really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just all gravy.
It kind of depends.
Yeah.
Also, fair,
50
like
58 is the unsung hero. I tell people to get a 58 sometimes before they get this.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's better
Yeah.
sounding. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I think it's nicer recorded. The SM7 has
Yeah.
a pokiness that is just like,
Yeah. It's very funny. Like some people are like, what should I get? I was like, get an SM58. You can also
Yeah.
use that live. Like
It's so cheap.
Like,
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
you also don't need to buy a hammer for your house if you have a
Yeah.
58. It's just like it's all good.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but I'll also say fair credit to Lars Stolfers.
Yeah.
He mixed the whole thing. He
mixed
did
the
a
record, yeah.
beautiful
Yeah,
job.
beautiful job. So we don't know what he did to it, but it sounds gorgeous.
We'll see.
sounds
Maybe
gorgeous.
I'll reach out and have him get on the podcast.
Yeah,
should.
yeah.
You should.
So the one, kind of quick question I had was the drums at the end really start to like, you guys did a great job of like balancing, like keeping the vocal up here and the drums as like aggressive as they are like still behind it.
Yep.
Like one, were those real drums? I'm assuming real drums and samples, having spoken to you for a little bit now.
Maybe
But,
not
like,
on that one.
Maybe no samples on those.
Yeah.
But we definitely blew them the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let Jake hit really hard.
Yeah.
The way our studio's set up is we have the drums and the piano is kind of like close to it. And we have a pair of AT 4040s that are kind of like just live on the piano as a utility mic, and they're pretty clean and neutral sounding. And those are going through this like $100, $150 Yamaha mixing console. And what's cool about this mixing console is it a
2404.
2404 if you care about numbers. What's cool about this console is that the individual channels have no individual outs. So every single channel that hits that console has to hit group buses and then have to hit the output of the desk, which then goes into
So
Pro Tools.
it's basically forcing you to make decisions.
Yeah.
Well, it's forcing you to make decisions, but sometimes we will use it as literally just a stereo track. So for this, we probably, I think this is what we did. We had the piano mics running through it during that drum part. And what's cool about this setup is it gives us 3 different places in the console to add distortion and saturation. It can add distortion at the preamp. I can add it at the group fader, and I can add it on the output fader before it hits Pro Tools. And we were blowing it the fuck up. It's really fun.
That's what it sounds. That's what it sounds like. I've been using this really fun new 500 series piece of gear called is the FK Comp by Garbage Ideas.
Yeah, I don't have it, but I've seen great things about it.
Dude, they're
I kinda
great,
want
and
one.
like, I just like kind of have it, and like every time I like put it on, drums or bass or I mean, you can put it on really anything.
Totally.
Everyone immediately turns out they're like, what is
What
happening?
is that?
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like this thing.
But it's cool.
It's cool. It's like I don't quite know what it's doing. That's 3 knobs, but it is what it is. Because I love that kind of like fucking super blown out drum parts. Like not always, obviously, not for every application, but it's like when you get it right, you get it right. And for the sake of time, I was one last question about it.
Sure.
At the end, when it's just your vocal there, is that like a voice memo thing or like what's the vibe? Piano mic thing? When it's just your...
I think we ended up.
What was that?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it might be iPhone, but
It sounds like iPhone, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, you would know.
I don't remember. Wait, hang on.
No, it's fine.
Oh, I have Pro Tools open. I'm recording, and it's still going. That's huge.
Hey,
I don't remember.
No,
I
it's
don't
fine. You don't have to
remember.
look it up.
But it could have been. It could have been anything.
Yeah, dude, that's so fucking great. We're pausing here on the free feed, but the conversation keeps going on our Patreon. Become a Producer Pal subscriber, and you'll get the full episode plus everything else we've got going on over there. The more Producer Pals we get, the more content we can create for our subscribers. You can find the link in the show notes. All right, back to finish the rest of the episode. Guys, this has been great.
So
the
fun.
last thing that we do before we wrap every episode is we ask our guests, what's like one small piece of advice that you give out or that you wish you got when you were first starting out, or that someone gave you when you were first starting out? Something, a little bit of wisdom that we can give our listeners.
You go first.
I mean, I think for me, it's just like figure out how to keep having fun doing what you do. You know what I mean? Like it is really easy to convince yourself that you have a job. And whenever that happens, I stop liking it and have to remind myself that it's just having fun with your friends every day and making fun stuff and being okay with, failing and, doing the wrong thing. Like, it's just have fun.
Love that.
Totally.
What would you call them?
Oh, if I had one piece of advice, I would say it is say yes to everything at first, and then start saying no to things when you have no time left.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. I don't think I've ever been benefited really from saying no to something. And I've learned so much by saying yes. So
yeah, it's funny because like when I first started my career, I did exactly that. I said yes to everything, and I'm super glad I did.
Yep.
And then I got to a point where I was getting busy, and my manager at the time, like, he could sense that I was like really stressed, and like I was falling so behind, and gave me advice. I don't know if it's advice or just like whatever the fuck you want to call it, but he was like, "Hey bud, you can say no to stuff, right?" And I was like,
What?
I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that." So the power of no, like when you're able to, right?
Oh,
is so
dude,
important.
wait, very quickly on the tail end of that thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say is that if you feel like your hours are insane, like you're working crazy hours, set a schedule that you like.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just don't work outside of that schedule. You think you're going to lose work, and you're not going to, I promise. Like, people will go like, oh, okay, that guy doesn't work at 11 p.m. on the weekend. Like, it's okay. Just just do it. That was the best thing we ever did.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
People know I don't do weekend sessions.
Yep.
Like, I don't I will rarely work at night if like we really have to like do something. I will do a night session every once in a while, but like people know, and like it doesn't get me any less work, at least that I know of.
Not that we know of.
It just makes you better at your job.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah. And every time we walk into work, and we're there fully present and able to function instead of like
especially in like situations where like my studio is at my home and I can be working it all out.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that like there are really like times when like my studio is like 10 feet away on weekends, and like I don't go in there all weekend.
Same.
Totally.
It's just closed. It's there.
Yep.
I might have to go and get a bar, I guess, for my daughter from
Yeah. God forbid, Yeah.
That's a bit. Well, guys, this has been so amazing. Thank you for, hitting pause when I was dealing with my daughter here.
No
But,
worries.
Of course.
really appreciate you guys. Before we wrap, is there anyone that you guys want to like shout out, or a project that you're working on that's going to be coming out in the next couple months that our listeners should check out?
Well, shout out to our manager, Jeanette. She's
best in the world.
amazing. We love her. And keep an eye out for an artist, Ryla Chance, who's releasing music this year. She's incredible.
She's spectacular. We're very proud of the work that we got to do with her on that.
I'm excited
She's
to check it out.
amazing. Yeah, she's great. Keep your ear to the ground for Ryman Wooten,
Yeah.
because he's great too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we got a few songs coming out with Michigander.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Coming out
Great.
pretty soon.
Congrats.
Great
So
project.
there's gonna be a little bit of that coming out too. So
Amazing, guys.
yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
All right. Well, if that stuff is out, we'll put it in the show notes, and our listeners can check it out there.
Beautiful.
Guys, thank you so much. This was so wonderful.
Thank you, Justin. This is
so
awesome.
fun.
Yeah. Please let me know when you guys are in LA next. Colin, if you're cool, if you want to put us all in a text, if you want to give Jake my number. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
We can text all the time.
Unless you never want to hear from me again, Jake.
That's
fine.
we're
you.
done. We're done here.
Fuck you, dude. No, we'll absolutely let you know next time we're in LA.
Yeah.
Which is somewhat regular.
You said you're in Eagle Rock?
I'm in like Glendale, very close to Eagle
Nice.
Rock. Yeah.
Have you had that burrito that's on the street? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Angel?
I think so.
Yeah, up by the Target?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
of course. Come on.
God, that's crazy.
The
We'll eat that-
Pastore.
the Al Pastore. Yeah, we'll eat that together.
Okay, perfect. I love that. We'll have a little date.
Yes, we will.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, this was so amazing.
Justin, you
so
rule.
fun.
Thank you again. Yeah.
All right, take care, guys.
Definitely. Take care.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Producer Points. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a rating, and share it with someone who loves music as much as you do. A huge thank you to our team, Nathan Rebello and Elijah Shepard. You can check out all the songs we've talked about on our Producer Points Spotify playlist. And if you want the full episode, join the Producer Pals community on Patreon. Links in the notes. Until next time, this is Justin Gamella.